Welcome to my show. I'm with a guest here. His name is Pericles Rellas. Pericles Rellas, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Timothy. It's great to meet you.
All right, sir. Firstly, we know you are a money mindset expert. I want to ask, what was the first thing that inspired you to bring this aspect that I want to become a money mindset expert? What exploded that idea towards you in the first place, sir?
When I first started working, I was actually working with clients to help them grow their business, to help them make more money. And as I did that, I found that the clients that I was working with were making more money. But at the end of the month, they still were in the same situation they were before. They were either just kind of treading water or they were still falling behind, even though they were making more money and it didn't make sense. So I started to research it and started to explore it, really looking at why is this happening? Is there something going on? Because it was a consistent pattern for all of my clients. And that's when I discovered that there was actually a money mindset, or what I call a financial thermostat, that regulates how much money people can earn, how much money they can keep, as well as their overall experience around money. And that's when I started to shift my focus as a mindset coach, as a business coach, to a money mindset coach. And I've been doing that for the last 20 years.
All right. I want to ask, have you written any book or are you planning to write any book or or is just something that is not on the radar, it's not something that is on your mind currently, sir?
Yeah, I do not have a book out right now. It's not in my agenda to write a book right now. What I've created is a an education, and I have a free masterclass that people can watch, and then I have a program if people want to go into a deeper dive where they can really start to get the distinctions that I've created around shifting their money mindset, or again, as I say, their financial thermostat.
All right, sir. Can you tell us more about that, that area, like where people go and, learn more about your thermostats? Do you have a website about it or something like that, sir?
Yes, they can go to periclesrellas.com or they can visit resetyourfinancialthermostat.com. Either one will take you right to my main website, which is periclesrellas.com.
All right, sir. I want to ask, like, how can you define money? Like, in your own way, what can you say money is in your own understanding, sir?
This is a really great question. And one of the primary things that I focus on with my clients when we first start working, because most people never really think about what money is beyond a piece of paper or some coins. And money is actually a currency. And a currency, one of the dynamics of a currency is that it flows. And the distinction that I created is that it actually flows in a circle with us intersecting that circle. So it flows to us, and then it flows through us, and then it flows away from us, and then back around to us again. And there's also this reservoir on the side that we get to keep. And so once we understand that that's how money flows, we can then start to look at blocks in the flow of money, kind of like blocks in the flow of a river. If you've got a river that's flowing water and you start to put rocks in it, and you start to put logs in it and other debris, it's going to slow down that flow. And because money flows in this circle, a block anywhere in that flow ends up blocking the flow of money everywhere in our life. So we start to look at the dynamics of the flow of money and then what are the blocks that you have around the flow of money, whether blocks coming to you or blocks flowing away from you.
All right, sir. Um, Thank you for that. I want to also ask, like, in your own understanding, how can you define someone that is financially successful? People say this man is like, how can you define someone that's financially successful?
Yeah, most people look at financial success and they look at the people that have lots and lots of money. That's the only thing they use to gauge financial success.
Yeah.
And for me, that is the last thing you want to look at because I've worked with clients who have literally have billions of dollars and they're miserable. There's no joy, there's no happiness, there's no satisfaction in their life. And they're always looking for more money. And then I've worked with clients who have very, very little money, and yet they're completely fulfilled. They're completely happy. There's nothing missing from their life. So it really is finding a balance of joy, happiness, fulfillment, and that sense of thriving. So for one person, making a certain amount of money may be exactly what they're looking for. They don't want any more money. They just love the life that they have, and that's the key. And then for other people, they love what they have, they love how much they're making, and they like to challenge themselves to make more, to go to different places. But they always keep that balance of joy, happiness, and fulfillment with how much money they're making.
All right, sir. Thank you for that. I want to also ask, how do you, make your decisions about saving money and also spending money?
Mm.
It's a two different thing. How do you think you do that when you save money and when you spend money?
Yes. Most people only look at spending money. They don't even really think about where they're spending money. They're just spending money how they're spending money. That's that money flowing away from us. And they don't ever think about, wow, I should really relate to spending money in a different way. I should choose very clearly and carefully where I want to spend my money and then include in that savings. So most people think about, well, I'm going to get a streaming service, or I'm going to buy a new car, or I'm going to get a nice house. But they don't focus on or include, I want to save for my retirement. I want to save for my short term and long term savings. I also want to save money for vacations or hobbies and treat each one of those areas with just the same amount of importance so that they're flowing money by design rather than by default.
All right, I want to ask this question. How do you think someone can handle financial setback?
We're all going to have setbacks. We're all going to reach a place where there's a challenge. We want to stay present to why it is we're doing what we do. And this is where a lot of people fall down. They have a sense of success, and then some challenge comes up, and then they get their feet taken right out from underneath them, and they fall down, and then they get upset, and they get frustrated, and they want to give up. It's having that why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Every month at the end of the month, when you're working on your finances, if you've got a really powerful context, meaning I'm doing this because I'm creating my financial future for myself and for my family. I'm creating wealth and prosperity for myself and my family. That why is what has us get back up and get back into the game and deal with whatever challenge comes to us. And then also relating to each challenge as an opportunity to learn. What did I learn from this experience? Even though it was an experience I didn't like, did I grow from it? Did I become a better person, a smarter person, a wiser person? These are the kinds of mindset things that you want to be doing every single day.
All right, sir. I want to also ask, what do you feel about debt and how do you think you can manage, or how do you think someone can manage debt?
Well, there are different kinds of debt. So there's debt like a house, where you're actually buying something that's an appreciating asset. That kind of debt is something that you want to go into with your eyes open. You want to go into knowing exactly what you're doing and having as much information about it as possible. Sometimes people get leveraged with way too much debt in investing or investing in homes or property, and they don't know what they're doing, and they end up in a lot of trouble. Then there's consumer debt. There's debt, credit card debt, where we're buying things that have no true value. They're just things that we like, whether it's a microphone or a phone or something like that. We don't actually have the money to afford it, but we decide to put it on a credit card. And that debt can start to grow and grow and grow to the point where it overtakes us. And we can't earn enough money to actually bring that debt down. And so you want to look at and approach any kind of debt with, what is it I'm doing with this money and why is it I'm going into debt? Well, I'm going into debt here to buy a home. And so that loan, while it's technically a debt, is actually something that I pay down and the value of my home goes up. So I'm more wealthy at the end of every month versus I just need a vacation and I'm going to go spend $1,000 on a trip that I don't have the money for, put myself into debt. Then I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to enjoy the first day. And then the second day, I'm going to start worrying about how much this is costing me. And I'm going to spend the rest of my vacation stressed and worried about what I'm spending. And then I'm going to get home and I'm going to get the credit card bill and I'm going to continue to stress. Those are the kinds of things we want to avoid. So avoid debt as much as you can when it's consumer debt and be really responsible about when you create debt when you're investing.
All right, sir. I want to ask because people always say money is not everything. So I want to ask, what role does money play in overall happiness and overall well-being of a person? Like,
Mm.
what role does money play?
Most people relate to money as it's the thing that can make me happy. As soon as I have X number of dollars, I will then be happy. And that's a false narrative. That's something where people they get trapped in this hamster wheel of I just need more money and I'll be happy. I'll just need more money and I'll be happy. But every time they reach that number, they're still not happy. Money does not bring us happiness. Things do not bring us happiness. Happiness, joy, satisfaction actually come from within. When we can get to a place where we're truly happy where we are with what we have, then we have the opportunity to look at it and say, wow, I would love to have more money so that I could travel more. Now, does traveling bring you joy and happiness? Absolutely. But it is not the source of your joy and happiness. So there are two different things. I have lots of things around me that I love, that when I look at, they bring me joy and happiness. But I don't need them to experience joy and happiness, to be fulfilled in my life. They're just additional things that money can allow me to buy that I enjoy looking at or I enjoy using. But it's when we think that that money is what we need to actually have happiness when we run into problems.
No, thank you very much for that. I want to also ask, like, from your experience, like from years that you've lived, like, who are your role model and how have you learned from them?
Mm. I've had a lot of role models, and I really look at there's no one answer for anyone. So if you meet someone and they say, I have the only answer for you, run. That is the last person you want to work with. I'm a true believer of there's no one answer, there's no right answer for everyone. Everyone has their answer and find the person that's going to provide that with you. So to that end, I've worked in many different modalities. I've studied stoicism, I've studied meditation, I've studied finance, I've studied energy, I've studied with many different philosophies because each and every one of them sources me in a certain way and provides me with something that will allow me to go to the next level that I'm committed to.
All right, sir. I want to also ask, um, who are you like, how can someone stay motivated during their financial goal? Like, what are the features you think someone can that can make someone stay motivated to achieve their financial goal?
I recommend writing down why it is you're doing what you do. Literally write it down on a piece of paper and write it down until when you read it back, your heart just sings. You feel like, oh, yes, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I have this financial goal. This is why I do the work that I do. And do this in any area of your life, whether it's in your relationships or whether it's in business or whether it's in your financial goals. Have that why and write it down. Then every morning when you wake up, read it and get present to it so that you start your day inside of that why. And then at night before you go to bed, read it again and have that be the last thing you read before you go to bed and dream the dreams that you dream. Allow that why to be the source of your day and your night.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for that. Um, I want to also ask, like, how can, some people are always scared of the terms like, when I have this money, this thing, like, how can someone cope? with financial anxiety? How do you think someone can cope with it when someone is having serious financial anxiety?
It depends on where the anxiety is sourced from. So someone could have anxiety about, I don't know how to make more money. Someone could have anxiety about, if I make more money, I don't know what I'm going to do with that money. And there are many other places where they might be. Start to educate yourself. Start to do the research. We live in a digital world where we can pretty much get our hands on any bit of information that we need at any moment. Just Google it, right? So start to educate yourself around the area of money that you're nervous about or that you're stressed about. The second thing that I would recommend, and this I have all my clients do, we don't interact with cash anymore. Most people don't touch cash on a daily basis. They use their credit card or their debit card or Venmo or Zelle. We're in a digital world. And that makes it very easy for us to be separated from our money. I live in Las Vegas, and I know this better than anyone because Las Vegas is all about separating people from their money. Back when I was a kid, you have to put cash into the slot machines in order to get to play it. Now, there's no cash. You can use your credit card and get credits, or stick a ticket in and get credit, and then you won't even get cash back. You're going to get a little piece of paper. So we don't interact with cash. I have this exercise I like people to do: is take a sum of money, of cash, out of the bank in as many bills as you can, and then sit down and just interact with the money. Count it, play with it, look at it, feel it, touch it, and then see what kinds of feelings show up as you're doing that. See what kind of thoughts you have as you're interacting with that cash, because those thoughts, feelings, and emotions will tell you a lot about your relationship to money and any limiting beliefs that you have around money. Some people pick it up and they just feel like, oh, it's dirty. It's just bad. It's evil. Well, that's a block in the flow of money. And if you can start to clear that block, suddenly you're going to relate to money differently. And it will be easier for you to earn money, or easier for you to earn more money or save money.
All right, thank you very much. Um, I want to ask, people are saying now the future is artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence. I want to ask, does artificial intelligence will it contribute to people, like, will it contribute to money, more money inequality? Will it make some certain people even more wealthier and some certain people even more, you know, more poorer, something like that? With artificial intelligence, interact with something like that.
I think with any progress, anytime we move to another level, there's an opportunity for both negative and positive results. And I think it really depends on each individual person. Are you willing to do the work to understand what it is you're going to interact with? Or are you just going to throw your hands up and just trust that it's going to do what you want it to do? I think if you are really serious about creating wealth in your life, creating that sense of security, that sense of abundance and prosperity and thriving, it requires you doing the work, the research, educating yourself. A lot of people, when I say, what would you do if I gave you $1 million? They'll say, well, I'd buy a house. And they talk about all these things to spend it, to disappear it, right? But then there's another group of people that say, well, I just hire a financial advisor. But, and this is not to say anything bad about financial advisors, but they make their money by using your money. And are you going to pick someone who's going to actually do what's in your best interest, or are they only doing what's in their best interest? Are they going to separate you from your money because they know you don't know what you're doing? Educate yourself before you decide to use AI or hire a financial advisor, so that you know what questions to ask, so that you're the best advocate for your money or whatever it is you're using AI for. Because if you give that up, you give up your right to ever expect your money to grow.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Lastly, I want to ask generally, what advice can you give to the audience generally, in your own understanding? Like, what advice do you think you can give to the audience?
Educate yourself. Get as much information about whatever it is you want to do as possible. And then go find someone who's better at it than you are that you trust and allow them to be a mentor for you. Every hugely successful person in the world, regardless of what industry they work in, has a mentor, has someone that they look up to, someone that they trust that elevates them, inspires them, says the exact right thing to them so that when they're down, they can get back up again and can see what our blind spots are so that they can say, you know what, you just did this. I didn't even realize I was doing that. Yeah, you do that every time, and that limits you. They see the things we don't see. So find a mentor and educate yourself.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I used to ask this question. If there is anything you personally wish you would have inherited from the ancestors, that's the forefathers, what do you think that thing would have be like? What do you think that thing would be?
Mm. You say ancestors, and that puts it way back, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I love ancestral conversations because there's so much wisdom in the history of our families. If we look back at our family trees going back hundreds of years, even thousands of years. But I think if there was one thing that I would like to have had my parents going back just that generation do differently, that would have been be more open about money. I grew up in a family where we never talked about money. It was taboo. It was an off subject. You just never spoke about it. And I think having those conversations would have had me relate to money a little bit differently and would have shifted my path, as it were, in life and made things a little bit easier. So don't be afraid of conversations. Don't be afraid of challenging conversations. Be open about them. Don't be afraid to address anything head on, especially if it's something that's uncomfortable, because it's when we're uncomfortable that we're right on the verge of breaking through to the next level. Kind of like going to the gym. When you're working your muscles out and it hurts and you can't do it, you know you're about to explode those muscles to the next level.
All right. I want to appreciate you again. Thank you very much, sir, for this little time you give to my show. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
You are more than welcome. It has been such a pleasure to be with you. I wish you all the best and your listeners as well.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.